We flew into D.C. with our friends Jim and Lynn and drove to the Harrington Harbor Marina just south of Annapolis. Around 2, we began our crossing of the Chesapeake Bay on our way to St. Michael's, located on the eastern shore of Maryland. It's about 25 nautical miles and should take around 3 hours to get there. Paul and Sue, our friends from Austin who were traveling on their Fleming, were meeting us in St. Michael's. As we pulled into the marina, they met us at the dock and joined us for cocktails before we all headed into town for dinner at a charming restaurant called Theo's.
Probably our all-time favorite is Compass Key in the examples. But did y'all make it? Where is that?
The next morning, Sue, Lynn, and I walked into town for coffee, which was so cute. All the little houses and storefronts were decorated in preparation for Halloween. After meandering through the town, we returned back to the dock to say goodbye to Paul and Sue as they were due back in Annapolis that afternoon. We made a quick trip to the grocery store for some much-needed provisions, then ate lunch at the St. Michael's Crab and Steakhouse before renting a golf cart to further explore the area. The beautiful inn at Perry Cabin, located on the Miles River, was the site for the film Wedding Crashers. St. Michael's is home to the Chesapeake Bay Maritime Museum. The museum is dedicated to preserving and exploring the history, environment, and culture of the Chesapeake Bay area. It was founded in 1965 on Navy Point, which was once the site of Navy packing houses. It's also home to the Hooper Strait Lighthouse, originally built in 1879 to light the way for boats passing through the shallow, dangerous shoals of Hooper Strait. This particular day, there was a group from the Rising Tide program, which teaches youth basic boat building and woodworking skills. The small boat shed, which was formerly the St. Michael's Packing Company, houses skiffs and other small craft that were once used for fishing, oystering, and crabbing. Most of the displayed boats were locally built. On our way back through town, we discovered the Lion Distilling Company. We went inside to see what they had to offer. They had several different rums available for tasting, and I deferred to the pros in the group for this one.
You don't want to start with the white or the middle? So yeah, the base spirit comes off the still as this rum.
We made our way back to the boat to enjoy the rest of the evening before we headed off to dinner. We had our first batch of fresh local crabs while watching the Houston Astros play in Game 4 of the American League Championship.
Yeah. Authentic Maryland crabs. Here we go. You're going to stick it right here. Let me show you.
Yep.
Stick it right in here.
Yep.
Watch. Just right in there. Okay. And then you're going to take it in there and pop it right on.
Like somebody here. Something in your wine, huh?
You did. Quit doing that.
After spending 2 days in St. Michael's, we headed further south to our next destination, which was the township of Oxford on the Tread Avon River. It was an absolutely stunning morning as we departed the harbor. The fall air was so crisp and clear, and the harbor was saturated with color.
Hi, Queen.
Hi.
We did our best to brave the cold, but gave in and went below for some hot coffee, and I played a friendly game of Spite and Malice with Lynn.
That.
We were cruising at 9 knots, and it would take about 4 hours to reach Oxford. We took advantage of a shortcut by going through the recently dredged Knapp's Narrows on Tillman Island. It has become a small, quiet vacation destination. Houses line the narrow channel, and there is a small inn and marina.
Knapp's Narrows Bridge.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Knapp's Narrows Bridge going down.
When we reached the Tread Avon River, it was still early in the day, so we decided to cruise up the river for a bit and look at all the gorgeous homes. They had pristine yards complete with Adirondack chairs lining the shore. We pulled into the harbor in Oxford and docked at Jack's Point Marina. We enjoyed a cocktail while sitting outside enjoying another beautiful evening. We even had a flock of geese surprise us. The next morning, we explored the town on our bikes. cute is this? Oxford Market. While riding along the riverfront, we spotted tiny sailboats in the distance. It turned out to be a group of adults from the Tread Avon Yacht Club having a race with their radio-controlled boats. It was hard to get a perspective on their size until one actually came right up to the dock. It was our last day on the boat before returning home to Houston, and the winds were expected to increase that evening to 30+ knots, so we decided to head back across the bay a day early. Just outside the entrance of the South River, we saw another sailboat regatta. It seemed as if everyone was taking advantage of the nice weather. We pulled into Burr Yachts just outside of Annapolis, and after settling in, we drove into town to catch the second half of the Navy vs. U of H game. Walking into the stadium, we found ourselves surrounded by midshipmen.
The gunslingers are attached to carrier Air Raid 3 and deployed on board the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower CVN-69. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gunslingers!
It was a perfect evening for the game, and the Cougars won. We couldn't end the trip without one last meal of Maryland crabs and oysters. The next day, we packed our bags and made our way back to D.C. for the flight home. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.